But it's a go honest truth.
It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night.
The shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes.
Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Winterbank holding a gun?
Something like that might have slipped out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash,
Yeah.
Order. Witnesses, explain yourselves at once.
The thing is, if we weren't supposed to, it would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you.
I'm about to understand that you were placed on truth of your original testimony of the new lies.
Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is,
Cut it out, Nash, cut it out. From Blab now, you know what it'll do to us. He? Who are they talking about?
Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Bruv, come on, the game's up!
But he'll have our guts regardless. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet. No matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out.
On
the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place.
Well...
Do we have to?
On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth.
Alright, so we just got and saw the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug.
Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it.
Well, no geezer, the bloke is strong as an ox. He checked me over the counter.
I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through that door in the back room.
We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear.
So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop. Well, yeah, sorry.
Well, we found ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably.
But honest, Governor, this time...
This time, Nash, this time, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well, counsel for the defense. You might proceed with a cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for.
This is the moment I've been waiting for.
Alright, so we just got inside gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug.
Wop, wop, wop.
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim proprietor of the shop, Mr. Winterbank. Who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right.
We were keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gap, obviously. But we never thought no one was going to come out of the back room like that.
The back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom. Yeah, that must be where I popped it from. Only place it could have been.
So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises.
Which means Ginny must have been in there at the point as well.
That doesn't make sense, does it? If Gina had threatened Mr. Windibank into the storeroom with her gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you see the accused at the time? What, that Multuler? Couldn't tell you.
Oh, wait, Quibber? We'd have bigger fish to fry then. Mean the old geezer just lost it.
Whoops. You mentioned that Mr. Windibank shouted those words in your previous testimony too. However, you claimed that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door.
Did we?
But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he?
Well, yeah. Was the victim, Mr. Windibank, wielding a gun at the time?
Was he ever? Blimey lummy, a great ugly barrel he had, pointing straight at me frontispiece. Frontispiece? So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windibank with a gun at the time, is that right? It is, Gov, it is. Spot on.
Then all the time he came out as he did.
It was bedlam. I didn't know who was going for who. You were clearly all going for each other. Like Nash said, we thought we had it. I mean, Ronald Geezer blowed as strong as an ox, chucked me right over the counter. Yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony too. Well, yeah, of course you did.
He knocked over a load of books, a candlesticks, and some skull or whatnot.
But I got tangled in some marionette what knocked over a picture frame, what knocked them scales on the floor. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shook you and made you knock those things off the counter.
Well, big bruv here went flying over the counter like a gunshot, I tell ya. Then the old geezer pinned him.
He did, Nash, he did. If I hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a bloomin' pancake in seconds.
Time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There's a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim.
That's right. When the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they?
Poor Mr. Windibank, he did everything he could to protect his shop.
I bought me going on him and he left it through the door in the back room.
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windibank?
No, never. I just, you know. Looking out for me, brother. He was being flattened, don't forget.
By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes.
And then the man fled into the storm when you pointed his gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shot me away, ran off through that door, and shot himself in.
There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true.
Wonder why Mr. Windibank ran away into the storeroom.
What?
Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun.
Ah, yes, that's right. Gina allegedly used Mr. Windibank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Windibank's hands again?
I have no idea, but that is strange, isn't it?
This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it.
Look, the point is, me and me brother, yeah?
That's right, Nash, that's right. Me and my brother, yeah? You never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. You say you had nothing to do with it?
Nothing at all.
Nothing, Gov, nothing. The old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he?
Lord knew it's from the inside.
We know it was, because we tried to open it.
But it's a decent door, that one. Good and strong, wouldn't budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. Sole person who could have possibly have shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Ag. It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, Counsel? I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank?
There could have been.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
Eh, what?
What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely.
Did? What's your point, my learned friend?
The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Windibank. And it is the belief of the defense the defendant is not the only possible answer at all.
You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan off the premises.
Shady said, yeah, the other guy who knew there was a sewer entrance from the pawnbroker to the freaking bank. Thanks, Sholmes.
The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts, so pray, what other possible answer to the question who shot the man could there be?
Counsel, you must now provide answer to the court with respect to two conundrums. Two, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe? Indeed. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord.
Are you alright, Reno?
I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely.
So, now, time for some clarity. Show the courtroom on this plan the answer to the questions posed by his lordship.
Shady's still talking about Windibank's death.
If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun.
So from where was the person that fired the gun?
Inside the storeroom?
I don't know what they're trying to get at.
Is that what you think? You think it was somebody in the storeroom that shot him?
Or from the little window.
But
the
where
door
was
has
the
a window.
person standing?
I was gonna point with my actual hand, but that wouldn't have been very useful. From outside the store, yeah.
Outside the store,
area,
up here?
No, like I keep wanting to point. Yeah, like right around there, right?
Right there?
Well, like I would say like by the door, but like, does it matter?
I don't know if it matters. Right here?
Yeah, maybe a little closer.
Closer to the door, or
Yeah, closer to the door.
there?
Yeah, like where? Like there.
The defense believes the culprit could have shot the victim from the location here.
And the answer to the second question.
Oh, they're not even gonna tell me.
Assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time?
Inside the storeroom.
Here?
Yeah, sure, right there. Such a weird.
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom.
continue.
Mr. Winterbank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you're adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom? Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony.
I pulled my gun on him and then he legged it through the door into the back room.
If Mr. Winterbank ran through the door, we have to assume that the door was open at the time. Ah! It was at precisely that moment, when the victim was fleeing for his life, that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom.
Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial?
Moving on to the findings of the Scotland Yard coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself.
Poor man shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety.
Of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory.
The culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Winterbank.
Objection!
Why are people bending over in all these cases?
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room.
No, Shady! He said, you know why, ooh.
Oh no. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock?
Ugh, but, what if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone else who could have locked the storeroom door.
Is that so?
Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shot and locked the storeroom door from the inside?
Gina could have locked the
Gina?
door, but it was actually Edgar Benedict. But yeah, Gina could have.
You sound unsure, so I'm saving.
I'm confident that the game wants us to be Gina, but it was actually...
If it was Eggert, wouldn't Eggert be in there?
There's a hole that leads to the sewers.
It's not... No, they were talking about him getting a shovel and digging down to the sewers. There's no hole.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room. For what possible reason? To protect herself? Such action will only serve to tighten the noose around her neck.
I am inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel?
Yes, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it?
Is it?
Half-baked notion have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please.
But of course Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it?
It does?
Sometimes I feel like a 10-year-old.
Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they?
Oh, yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Winterbank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at the time, but at some point, Mr. Winterbank must have heard the intruders break into his shop and left the storeroom.
Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv.
If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom.
Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back to the storeroom door, hoping to escape the danger.
Blech!
Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windibank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. What we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment?
I see where you're going with this.
Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windibank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Oh, that was Nash's voice?
Was it?
Oh my. That's a lot different than what
I don't think that was Nash's voice. Wasn't that on Ryunosuke's?
But why?
Oh, but it says Nash. I don't know. It sounds like they just used Ryunosuke's.
It's me, Nash!
Nash Ketchum.
But I ain't it. I mean, we ain't it done it. Just sorry. But I mean, we're the ones who done it.
We ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on. We'd never shoot no one.
Yeah, that was literally Ryunosuke's
That's
voice.
blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. That's the only one logical conclusion here. Shady said I'd beat him to the same dumb Pokemon joke. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windibank's murder.
Yeah.
Gag! Where does this leave us?
You mean to say that it wasn't a pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker at all?
I should have known it was those three brothers. They look as shady as always.
That was amazing, Runo. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now.
I know, first time ever, and probably the last.
Well, I think you've done it. Surely you'll have to give the verdict of not.
An admirable effort, my learned friend.
What's this now? He's laughing.
You find the situation amusing, Lord Von Zeeks. I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive.
Shady said now for a complete flip their minds. Like, wow, I couldn't even finish typing my thought before Zeke started laughing.
I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers of your provincial eastern nation.
This time he's just gonna slam his butt on the table, just to be even more dramatic.
But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here.
No, he's to be dramatic. Just to be more dramatic, he's gonna pull out his pancreas and just slam it on the table. Here's my hallowed pancreas.
My hallowed pancreas is appalled.
It just starts bleeding out on the counter.
That's wine. It's fine.
Oh, like this wine. It's made of 70% wine. I already read this. Do you need me to read it again?
You did. Okay. What?
I mean, I could read it imagining that I ripped my pancreas off. Reread the line.
But your hypothesis. But the
There's not even a but in this sentence.
You're thinking about his butt.
I keep thinking about his butt. I gotta be careful, otherwise Codename's gonna apparate in my room.
The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly, credibly cannot.
Is that really what?
The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly, credibly cannot, and will not stand.
Is what really what?
That sentence did not look like a real
Oh.
sentence that a human would have said.
I think it looks like a real sentence.
I mean, yeah, I
I
had to
cannot
like,
and
reread
will
it.
not stand.
Yeah.
Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. Hua! Flaw!
Shady said probably performed the surgery on himself while making the jury switch back to his side. Doesn't need anesthetic. Not breaking eye contact while doing so. Alternate power move.
That's a Van Zeke's way.
A fatal flaw.
Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failings?
I mean, now to be honest, sometime when I'm debating somebody, I do want to lift my foot up and just slam it down on the table.
That's such a power move. I think people are just going to be like, what the hell? Excuse me?
I think I'll win. I don't think they're going to argue back anymore.
I really don't think they're going to continue arguing. You're right. But then you're going to be the weirdo that slams his foot on tables when you're arguing.
No, only when it's just that appalling of an argument.
Oh, say, Lord Van Zeeks. Might be an idea to explain this bally conjuring trick or whatever it is to the troops on the ground, hmm?
The fatal flaw is my learned friend. In my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets.
By George, count bullets.
Oh dear. He noticed then.
Huh? What's everyone talking about?
Council, Iris, you could have just told us!
She was hoping he wouldn't notice. Yes, sir.
But then the truth won't come out.
She doesn't care about the truth. She cares about her friend.
Tell the court, how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime?
Two bullets.
Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene.
Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar.
Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are two firearms involved in the incident. I'm so appalled by your idiocracy that I'm getting nauseous just thinking about it. The revolver belonged to the victim, Mr. Winterbeck. And the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun.
Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each.
Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these two brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes.
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness! I think you'll find
that if the single bullet that was fired from the brother's gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means...
I'm not sure about the same gun. Stop! Only one bullet. Stop!
Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny.
Ugh. Ugh.
So dramatic. Unnecessary.
Order, order, order!
Why even be
That's-
discourteous to begin with, Van Zeeks?
Read it.
He did it purposefully.
Read it.
crave for gifted discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. My lord! I read it.
I know, I was reading what Shady was saying. Shady said, well, unless Gina's gun was the one that actually shot Sholmes by accident in self-defense, it was dark after all. Not that she thinks it was them.
Lord Van Zieks.
But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can regrettably no longer be described as juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond doubt in this print which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present.
That disc.
I'll be taking that whatever it is McGilded down to the yard. Thank you very much.
Oh God. No, don't give it to him. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine.
I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken as evidence now.
It comes back for one line.
Yes, the music box disc. McGilda's music box disc. The music box disc specifically made for McGilded.
McGill.
That music box disc. God, that's a lot harder to say. It sounded good in my head. It's a tongue twister.
I mean, it was good. It's good. I give it a B+. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Winterbank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force, embrace, and impudence.
Good gracious.
Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets that fact at its peril.
I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel. It is a grim testament to the defendant's character. Lord Van Zieks,
Inspector Gregson, what?
Yes, Inspector.
We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed that the disc wouldn't be used as evidence.
What's this all about? Why is the Inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zieks at all.
I'm unaware of any such meeting.
But those are the instructions right from the top. Government bigwigs were insistent.
Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord.
Indeed. Bailiff.
The gall, the audacity.
Like, he wasn't even... Van Zieks wasn't even the one proposing to submit it. But, like, as soon as Gregson's like, wait, no, you can't do that. He's like, oh, really? I can't do that, huh? Well, nah, I'm gonna do it.
Oh, you're telling me that I shouldn't do this? Oh, you mean this thing that I'm about to do right now? Oh, man. That's so funny.
Shady said, thank you and go to hell. I'm gonna do it. Watch me do it.
Van Zeeks. If it wasn't for your racism, you'd be such a great character in entirety. But it's a flaw. Everybody needs a flaw, right? The
Yeah.
prosecution has established the accuser's motive, opportunity, and basis of character. There's nothing more to add. Like, I already know that this whole thing with, like, Nipponese yada yadas is because of whatever Kazuma's whole thing with going to England. Like, it's all related, and by the end, he's gonna, power of friendship and all that. But
Well,
we'll
Mr.
get there.
Racist Van Zeeks are still talking.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I will await your informed decision and rest my case.
I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once for all of 5 minutes.
Oh dear. It wasn't even for 5 minutes, Reno.
My lord,
Wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up to now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden... The answer's bally obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it.
Oh no.
Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Oh. Matic.
We have a consensus among the jury, it seems.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. How dare you use it against us?
Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Winterbank. That's beyond any doubt.
Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day.
He doesn't even request it. It's just like...
He's like,
Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Garrett Squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what ground you have now determined the defendant to be guilty.
I miss Joan.
Well, she's in jail.
I want Mr.
What?
Garrett to get slapped in the face a couple times.
Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say. Different breed tells law-abiding citizens.
As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, it was that pickpocket.
I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief.
Accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead.
I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns.
That is why he's guilty.
It would seem there is little remaining room for doubt.
I know gun. Gun is bad.
I have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. Why that fell apart like House of Cards, the sort of jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more.
I should use Bali.
The whole courtroom is turning against me.
It's not fair.
Iris?
That prosecutor is being mean. Just because Ginny's done some things she should have done in the past doesn't make her a murderer.
Someone get this child out of here. Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out. Eventually.
I just realized we never examined this.
She's the procrastinator.
Oh, Bruno, look.
Bruno.
Oh. I read it in his voice too.
Oh, Bruno, look.
He's talked to himself now.
This is blood.
Go on.
What?
This is you.
I said my line.
Not the right voice.
This is blood.
Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood.
Yeah, we already know what this is.
Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before.
Oh, haha! It's my time to shine again. Thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that desk, Bruno.
Right in the middle of the courtroom. Can we get this done quickly, Iris?
In a flash.
It's gonna be green. It's gonna be green. It's gonna be green. It's gonna be green. I think it's gonna be green. Yeah, boy, it's green.
Oh, a lovely bright shade again.
Wait, that color.
What is it?
It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? It's not the first time we've ever seen green.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm actually colorblind. I invented this just for fun. For McGilted. That's the man you defended in court a couple months ago, isn't it, Reno?
Yes, or rather mistakenly defended.
I wonder what his name is doing in the back of this disc.
That's a question I'd love to know the answer to myself.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Okay. Ready?
Yep. Oh, that was a nice touch.
There's enough
When it
preamble.
zoomed,
What?
when it panned from Von Zieks to Ryunosuke, you can see the Skulkin brothers.
Yeah.
That's enough preamble. Counsel proceed to the summation examination.
Like, it's not just like a stock animation. It was like unique to this case.
Yeah. Yes, my lord. We should.
And I wonder if all the cases are like that.
I don't know, maybe. I think we can get through the summation examination tonight. And then be done. So, thoughts?
I want to know what that guy has to say about guns.
I thought you were just a tourist. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
Oh, you guys didn't know? If you're a ballistic expert, you can't go on vacation.
There's no
It's
way
illegal.
he's just a visiting tourist. So you're a ballistics expert. Who knew?
I have much experience with guns.
Ah,
I have lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent bath of, blood of,
Ah, extremely violent bloodbaths, perhaps?
those extreme violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue.
considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue.
Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There is nothing I do not know, no mystery I cannot solve.
He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure.
But, if possible, please only in Russian language.
He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he?
No, still, we should bear it in mind. He's a man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets. Benzeke's magic convinced everyone.
When you have eliminated the impossible, he said, but he hasn't.
If we're going to fight back, we need more material. We're gonna have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again.
Okay. What's the road different body says? Okay, next. Only 2 bullets are found on the scene. Maybe. Okay, continue. Do you need to take a cup to see every which way it was that pickpocket? Sure. Keep going. Never emergency operation. Okay. The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead. Okay, cool. So pit Bolshevik with the maid.
Just to save time, I'll tell you have to press somebody else still.
Is it the potato? Is it my little potato boy?
Do you want to press him?
The surgeon? I mean, I always want to see what he has to say, yes.
Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here.
Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it has nothing to do with this trial, to be honest.
Huh?
I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach.
He always has the right thing to
Quite
say.
inexplicable, don't you think?
I almost don't want to ask, but the surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you are operating on...
What was the fellow's name now? Herlich? No, Herlock? No, Hairlock?
Herlock Sholmes by any chance?
Yes, good lord. It was that Hairlock fellow.
What? You're the surgeon that operated Mr. Sholmes.
That's right, using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major op, I can tell you.
I knew it!
This is crazy.
Let me see, the fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullet anywhere.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
So I'm afraid I have to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up.
Please don't do what?
Go through people's insides with a fine-tooth comb? That's gonna, really compromise the integrity of the organs.
I hate to state the obvious, but
Yes.
surely that's because the bullets are still at the scene of the shooting.
Counsel for the defense is correct. As it clearly shows in this photographic print, the bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in his stomach region.
Oh, this... okay. The bullet the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in his stomach region, then exited his body and lodged in the shop wall where the calendar was hanging from by the door. I think you'll find it really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally.
Ha! Who do you think I am, son?
Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do.
As soon as I saw the wound to the man's stomach, I flipped him over.
Like a pancake?
Like a
Are
pancake.
you saying that you checked his back?
Of course I did, and there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign that the bullet had left the body at all.
What?
That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was sold somewhere in the man's innards. Which is exactly why I set about slicing him up.
Yikes.
And I'm still none the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it?
I love
Can
him so
somebody
much.
please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery?
It's almost as much a mystery as how this jury was put together. Okay.
Yeah. Put him against Mr. Bolshevik. Oh, I love him.
To refresh my vocal cords again? These two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other.
Oh, a ballistics expert.
Pitting. P-I-T... T... On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes is shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes is shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Villain. Pleased to meet you.
Oh, I thought he wasn't.
This apparent contradiction in the facts is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situation in Motherland. It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold.
Golly.
The snow was piling up on both sides of the road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles, and they were on dog sleds. And to note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind and I fell down in snow. And this situation was very similar to what I hear today from Doctor. They could not find bullet in my body, and no sign of, how do you say, exit wound.
That's how you say it. Exit wound.
And where did the bullet go?
Bullet never hit me.
Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down?
Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from the lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looks just like bullet wound.
Oh.
Good gracious.
Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me. And that is solution to mystery of disappearing bullet.
But that doesn't answer the question at all.
Hmm?
The shooting happened in a pawnbrokery shop. Not some snowy mountain road in another country.
Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here.
Bruno? Where exactly was Haley shot again?
Well, according to the report, in his stomach. Sort of around this area, I think.
Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt.
A pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that.
Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals as he uses for his investigations.
What? Really? Doctor, where's the pouch Mr. Sholmes is wearing?
Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember.
If I may.
Lord Van Zeeks.
Well, I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination. I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. That's why he brings
Sorry?
all the wine for the summation examinations. As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound.
Ah, thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment.
Since then, it has been in my safekeeping all along with all of the evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred.
Very well. Extremely unconventional during a summation examination. I must demand the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes' pouch.
Bring forth Mr. Electrobus'
I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes the night in question, is it?
Look at that. One of the files is broken and the leather around is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded.
Exploded.
So that night, the bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch.
And it was a glass vial exploding that caused the fellow's injury.
This bullet did not penetrate victim, but was deflected into wall of shop.
A delightfully complex aroma.
Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least.
Though it has no bearing on the truth in this case. Of this case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts in the case remain unaltered.
Ugh.
But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man.
Da. Thank you very much.
Whoa.
Glad I could help.
To bear on the conundrum just saw, the court will sequester this scruffy pouch as evidence.
Ouch, is it scruffy?
We're almost done with the summation examination, so honestly it probably is easier if we just finish or we'll be confused
Yeah.
next time.
I'm not in a rush.
No, the summation examination. It would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion.
Please, my lord. A little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue. You can't afford to overlook anything here, Inosuke. There's still a way to turn this around, somehow. I'm sure of it.
Roll credit. Turnabout.
His class vials are full of Hurley's homemade potions.
Homemade.
Yes, like fingerprint powder to show where people have touched things, and scent amplifying solution to intensify a smell lingering on an object.
That's amazing.
They're all very easy to use, there's just one thing that you have to be careful of. They are very flammable.
Mr. Sholmes is a walking bomb. Either he's passionate about finding out the truth or just oblivious to the dangers. Oh, look, there's a hole here at the back. Doesn't look much like a bullet hole, but clearly something's ripped through the leather with great force.
Something must have pierced it somehow to have left this hole behind.
Yes, it looks that way. Mr. Sholmes' pouch both took a beating, didn't they?
There's a little bump.
It's really scorched badly just here.
Oh, the strap's broken, look!
This must be where the bullet hit then.
Let me see.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was, do you see it?
That's the Skulkin Brothers bullet!
What a stroke of luck that it hit this pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windibanks that night.
Found exactly what the juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet!
It's time to press that juror again, I think. Yeah, Shady, like hell, or well, hell indeed. Okay, now do you know what to do?
I mean, let's go back. Go back. Go back. That one. Present.
You can't
For
present.
record. You can't present? Press.
You can't present, yeah.
Then press.
It's the number of bullets that has you convinced?
Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlourmaid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings.
That's logical, I suppose.
Although,
Yes?
sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like the fine china.
Does your employer dine with thieves?
So I suppose. If there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position.
A 3rd bullet somewhere on the scene. Could that be possible?
It is! I can prove it!
Could that be possible, even though we just found it? Allow me to show you then, the 3rd bullet. This?
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Just, you,
Just pull out the bullet.
yeah.
Here it is. We discovered it just now.
Here it is.
Yes, on the night in question, Windibanks Pawnbrokery. Another bullet was fired.
What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet?
It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch.
Oh my god. What?
This pouch was removed from Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to hospital. Since then, it has been touched by no one.
I know we're trying to finish quickly, but
Do you mean to say?
What?
when you said it was found in Mr. Sholmes, your call dropped a little bit, and I just heard like a beep, like it was censored. It was found in Mr. Sholmes. Beep! I'm like, whoa!
Dang, I wish that was on stream.
That was so funny.
The shot fired by Skulking Brothers that night.
Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. Yeah, Shady, they should have looked better at that.
But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know where the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print.
Ah! 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted to the court record as evidence.
Yes, that of Mr. Winterbeck and that belonging to the Skulking Brothers.
An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each.
Ah! But that must mean...
That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. Until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. We didn't hear your groan of pain. We heard a bit of it.
Order.
Hate Discord.
While the summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundation upon which the case against the defendant has been built.
Huh!
This is my prerogative in this situation. I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter!
What?
Bailiff, bring the witness back to the stand at once.
So he just suspended the summation examination.
Like,
I'm not even gonna let the jury have guilty at this point.